Okay, quantum mediumship part 2. Now that you know what's out there, how can you control how you interact with them? How can you make sure you stay safe and that you're not drawn into anything that you don't want to be drawn into by interacting with these energetic forms? Stick around, we'll talk about that. Now, if you follow any of the popular, popular TV psychics or anything like that, you've seen them advertising crystals, you've seen them talking about prayer, you've seen all sorts of tips for how to protect yourself when you're going into any situation where you're going to be dealing with a cohesive energetic form that is not confined to a physical body. And these cohesive energetic forms frequently are the remnants of a previous life that have not moved on for whatever reason. Now, in the previous video, I talked about residual hauntings and how they are just kind of recordings in the environment. So we're not going to worry about those. Those don't really interact. They can be annoying, particularly if, Aunt Ruthie is still getting up at 5 in the morning and banging around the kitchen making biscuits, even though she's been dead 20 years. That gets really annoying really quick. But we're not going to worry about Aunt Ruthie. Aunt Ruthie is doing her thing. She is a recorded set of actions that were repeated over and over again. Ruthie herself has moved on to her next life. It's just this energy has stuck around. Instead, let's talk about the cohesive energy thought forms that are still functioning, the ones that are not recordings, the ones that are independently operated, the ones that can interact and choose to interact with people. Now, most of these beings that stick around have a compelling reason to do so, or at least it's compelling to them. They feel there is something from their life that is unfinished and needs to be dealt with before they can move on. If they can figure out what this is, deal with it, and move on quickly after transitioning out of having a physical body, they move on to their next life, everything's hunky-dory, we're good. This would be the type of thing where grandma shows up at the foot of your bed after passing away so that she can tell you goodbye one last time. That's resolving an issue, that's saying goodbye to the family members, that's passing on her love. She can move on. Nothing to worry about. But then you have those who can't resolve their issue, can't figure out what it is they need to do to move on. The stereotypical one of that would be someone who was murdered or who died in tragic circumstances, feeling that a portion of their life was left unfinished and stolen from them, and trying to bring their killer to justice, trying to, achieve whatever goal it was that they were working on at the time of their passing. Then there's the ones who, as they approached transitioning, were so afraid of the process that they are desperately clinging to any scrap of their previous life left. These are the ones that tend to get themselves anchored to either places or objects that were important to them during their previous physical life. Now, the problem with anything that is sticking around for an extended period of time after transitioning states out of a physical body and into a purely energetic one is if they are determined to confine themselves to the limitations of their 3D life, then they will find themselves becoming more and more frustrated and angry because they have so little control and so little ability to affect what is around them. If you ever saw the movie Ghost, there was a wonderful scene where an angry ghost was teaching Patrick Swayze's character how to use anger to affect the physical world. And that is exactly what is happening here. So for a purely energetic being to focus itself enough to affect the 3D world that we perceive, it has to have a motivating factor. It has to have something that causes it to focus the will directly into this little laser point to be able to move the 3D. Frequently, that is anger, because anger is one of the base emotions that provides a lot of energy, a lot of power very quickly. But, hi Boober, if you tend to rely on anger too much, it begins to consume you. And I'm sure you know people in the 3D world who have this happen to them too. They use their anger as a way of working through whatever problem situations are in their life. And the more they do so, the more permanently angry they become. And that's detrimental no matter what state you're in. So what do we do if we are dealing with these thought forms who may or may not be angry? Honestly, it's more frustration than anger at not being able to accomplish the goal, but you get the gist. If you're dealing with a spirit that is angry, quite often part of the frustration is it feels it isn't heard. So if it finds someone who is energetically open to communicating with it, it's going to stick around. Think how you would feel if you were sent to sit in the corner in the timeout chair for 3 years. How would you feel the first time you talked to someone after that? Would you just be like, oh, hi, Bob, and go about your day? Or would you want to sit there and tell them everything you had thought about for those 3 long, lonely years when no one acknowledged you? I mean, there's a reason the Puritans used shunning as a primary form of punishment. It's psychologically devastating. And that doesn't change no matter what form you're in. As energetic beings, we need that connection with other beings. And if you are so focused with holding on to being in the physical that you have stuck around even after transitioning out of your physical body, then you're not going to be content with other purely energetic beings. You're going to want the physical beings to interact with you. And when you find one who does, well, they tend to get a little clingy. They want to stick around. They want someone to acknowledge them. They want to be heard. They want to be able to tell their story. They want to be able to lay whatever it was that kept them around to rest. And if you're the physical being that they're clinging on to, they don't listen when you tell them you need to sleep. They don't listen when you tell them you need privacy. They just, kind of do their own thing. And let me tell you, there are a few things that freak you out more than sitting in the bathroom and suddenly someone walks through the door and starts chatting with you. So how do you protect yourself from that? How do you make it clear to one of these beings that if you're going to communicate with them, you're going to do it on your terms and not theirs? Well, this is where so many of the psychic mediums rely on their own spirit guides, rely on the power of prayer, or rely on crystals to keep them safe. All of these things are accomplishing one simple goal. They are focusing the will of the medium to create an energetic shelter around themselves where they can step back out of the communication with this other being. That's all it is. It's like putting on a heavy coat and pulling up the hood over your head and saying, nope, not going to talk now. Now, if you've ever been bullied in school like I was, you know that when you pull on that heavy coat and you pull the hood up, the bullies may sit there and try poking at you, but the heavy coat means you don't feel it. And it means you're not left with the bruises that the bullies generally leave when they catch you unarmed. So, this best thing to do, instead of relying on any of these external things, is acknowledge that this is a matter of your own will versus the will of the being that you're working with. And deciding, no, this is done on my terms, my energy, my terms. I am not going to allow you to affect me. When you can set that in your mind and hold it, and trust me, if you use the image of the coat, it really works really well. But when you can set that in your mind and hold it, then those beings will move on. By the way, I'm going to put my link to my Parka video up here. It was originally designed for dealing with other people in the 3D world, but it does work for this as well. So yeah, look at the Parka video, and that will help you with focusing your energy in such a way that you can block off communication with any other energetic being. 3D, 5D, anywhere in between. This is how you learn to protect your own energy from any external energy around you. You can even apply it to other people. I put this on my kids when they were little and were being disturbed by energy beings showing up. So there's the basics on what it is that you could be dealing with as a medium on the quantum energy level, and how you can protect yourself from stage 5 clingers that want to sit and talk at 3 in the morning. If you need any help understanding all of this, or if you'd like to see more videos along these lines, just let me know. You can reach me over email, marnarenee@gmail.com, or leave me a note down in the comments section. I love getting comments and I read all of them. And just to keep the YouTube algorithm happy, please like, subscribe, comment, and share, because that way this information gets out to other people who may need it. You be great, and I will see you on the next video.